This is to do the timing chain on a Volkswagen Polo 2010, engine code CGP. It's a 1.2. So remove these 17mm wheel bolts, and then take a T25 and you remove a myriad of fasteners from the wheel arch. So once they're removed, remove the wheel arch, and you want to remove the under tray, so there'll be more fasteners with it as well. There's all the fasteners I had to take out, so you can count them at your leisure. So remove that under tray, like I said, that gives you access to the sump, and here I'm pointing out some of these extra connectors on that tray. So you start by disconnecting the negative lead of the battery and put it to the side. Then you remove the cap from the tensioner. As you can see, this flies away into oblivion, so that's off. Then it's a T50 Torx, and you use that to retract this serpentine belt. And once the belt is off, you don't need to renew this belt. They usually last a lifetime, so that should be good. Then you remove the bottom bolt. That's a 13mm. Remove the bolt. Believe me, the alternator not move. Then it's a 13mm spanner at the top. You need to use an open-ended spanner to start this bolt off. Then you remove the electrical connection from the side of the alternator. That's the wee 2-pin plug. And then you remove the big plastic cap from the main 13mm bolt. I'll show you that as we go along. So you just use a little spanner here. This is 13mm as well. I got this spanner out of Asda, £4, brilliant buy. Remove the nut. As I say, that is 13mm. Then after that, you take an 8mm and you remove the harness. The harness is connected to the alternator. So once you take this 8mm off, you can move the harness out of the way. And that's disconnected. There's another 8mm nut you have to remove from the heat shield, and I use that wee flexi ratchet to remove that. Then this is a difficult bit. You go back in and you retract the tensioner to get this top bolt out, and then I've got this, obviously got this battery cordless thing that zips it right out. And once you've done that, you then take that out, and it's time after that to remove the alternator. You need a bit of tension on that tensioner, obviously, to do that. And then I just took a long screwdriver, give it a bit clunk, and that loosens the alternator off. And once you remove it, you'll see that the spacer falls out. It's on the deck, and you're actually better to lower this alternator down the way. So that's me just showing you all the connections, and obviously refitting is a reversal of removal. Cheers. Pointing out some of these. The next thing, I remove the crankshaft bolt or loosen it. It's 18mm. So I zooked it with my impact wrench. So there you go, that comes off. So it saves you a lot of hassle later on, although you can do it with the timing tool. So remove the cover for the coils. Then I've made this tool to remove these coils. These are fairly tight, so get them underneath, wedge them underneath, and just give it one mighty heave to remove. So get the 3 of them out, and you disconnect the wire. Now these connectors are a paste. You're better to use a little flat screwdriver just to put that in and lever it back, and then they come off better. In fact, all Volkswagen connectors are like this. A little screwdriver does the job. So remove that earth connection there, and just take all the coil connections and move them to the side. I think that's the oil pressure switch there that I remove, and that just clears the area there. Then the next thing I think I want to do, I remove the spark plug. You can see that the engine's running fine, but the timing chain has jumped, so I've not got any misfires, so i.e. the pistons have not hit the valves. So remove that screw for the air ducting, and this thing is guy tight, I can tell you. So a flat-headed screwdriver in at each side, and that removes that. Remove this bracket here at the end of the camshaft, and that gives you access for to put the timing tool in. So I can't remember their Torx sockets anyway. Is that a T? Can't even see it. And remove that screw. Then use a screwdriver, prise off that plastic cover, and you can put your timing tool into the 2 camshafts. So this is a timing tool here. I got it a few years ago. It fits the older Polo as well, so I need these 2, and the 4th thing goes into the crankshaft. I don't need the 3rd bit, but I need the 4th, 1, 2, 4. So that's the camshaft. You can see they're keyed in the upper position. So you pop them in your two camshafts, and you see that you're meant to pop your screw back in there. It just holds everything in position. So what I now do is remove the fasteners from underneath the timing cover. For the sump, I don't want to remove the whole of the sump because I've not got one of these braces to hold the engine up. I'm just going to put a jack underneath the sump. So I remove 9 of these screws. Then I use a set of long nose pliers and disconnect the oil level sensor, because the connector's on the opposite side. You can't get your fingers in here, and you disconnect that. Now here you go, the crankshaft sensor. What a pain to remove this. I left the electrical connection on, so you use a T30 Torx, and there's the fastener there, it goes into it, and I used a small 1/4 inch. That was exactly the ratchet I used, and that's extension. So there it's removed. As I say, painful to remove. And once you get that thing out, you then pop your crankshaft timing tool in. You see that up the top there above the wires? There's a better shot, so that goes right in. And once that key's in, you know you're at TDC. So the next thing is you remove the coolant bottle. That's a 2, I can't remember the size. And just a tug up, and then that removes that. You move it to the side. Then disconnect the electrical connector. You can see it's got 2 tabs, one at the top, bottom, and push. So then it's a 13mm socket, and you're going to remove the engine mount. So make sure you have a jack underneath the sump with a piece of wood to hold the engine up. Then you disconnect all these connectors, these bolts, from the engine mount, and remove the mount. Now I forgot to remove the water pump, so this is the just used a set of mole grips and put it around the belt. That grips it, and you remove these Allen key fittings because you need this off. Then you use this M12, is this a star fitting they call it? I think is it 3 M12s? I can't actually remember. So there's one, and there's another couple other places. And then, that's the other 2 M12s. So there's 3 M12s. So you take them away. And with that bracket there, and then the next size is M10s. So these are the smaller ones. And I'll show you I think I'll show you the location. Oh, there's one of the bolts, and then you just remove the rest of the fittings. I actually started all them behind before I used my cordless ratchet to remove them. Just didn't want to round any of them. So some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. So I'll show you where some of the longer ones go. So there's one down at the front of the engine. That's one long one. And then there's another one at the back, but near the oil sensor, level sensor. And there's one near the water pump, and I think there's actually more than that, but I only showed you some. So remove the oil level sensor because you need access to the fittings there. So you see that's another longer one, and then it's an M10, you have to remove that as well. So you then move this oil, was that a breather pipe? So that was 2 fasteners, and pull that away, and then you can get in behind there to get another one out. So you can see that's one of the shorter ones. And I just pop the 2 connectors back in. So this is the next thing. I used a rubber mallet to start this off because, as I say, this had been done 3 years ago. It's away again, so you got to tug and pull, and oh man, it was stuck fast. But the key to this was getting a screwdriver in at the bottom there and prising it out. I suppose it would be easier if I removed the sump, but I didn't. So there you go, I created a gap, and after I done that, it was then just a wiggle, and you can remove it. So there's the cover in all its glory, and I'll show you a shot. You can see where the holes are for where the bolts go. This is quite useful if you're just starting off, you think, because I forgot about one of the bolts, and I was trying to remove it at the beginning, and so that gives you a good view where all the bolt holes are. So there's a timing chain with the tensioner and the guides, so they're all going to get replaced. And this one didn't actually seem too bad, but I think it's been lucky oil changes it's caused it to jump. You can see that black, I think that black chain links might be the top, so there's the tension on it, and then I'm sure that's the oil pump down the bottom there. That was quite wobbly as well, but that wouldn't cause it to jump. So here's the FAI timing kit. I got this £105 at TMS, so it gives you a warning, change the oil, because that's usually what causes the problem here. It's usually the tensioner that goes. So in the kit you get the 2 camshaft cogs, then you get an oil seal, then you get the RTV silicon stuff, then you get the chain, then you get the guides. So it's a good, I like FAI stuff, it's good. So there you go, there's the, that's the small cog for the crank as well, so it's 3 cogs you get. There's a hydraulic tensioner, and there's the camshaft cogs and the silicon. So that's part 1. When I get the job done, I'll show you part 2. Cheers.